I'd like everybody to know that I'm really bad at this job. I just put on a really good face to make it look like I'm good. But when it comes to technology, these past two have been so god awful. Oh my God.
Oh
Anyway,
no. So you lost your whole Mr. Mime bit. Oh my
Mr.
gosh.
Mr. Mime threw me off so bad.
Leslie's gonna be mad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hit List Podcast, the show where Pokemon nostalgia meets today's collecting culture. And today we have my wonderful co-host, Jack, and we are going to go over two topics today. We're going to go over upcoming sets that are coming out, and we're going to go over grading and its effect on the hobby and how we can grade, some tips, tricks, and maybe just how you can get some for a good price yourself.
Hell yeah, my favorite part of the week. Hit list with Big Mike Sunday morning, baby. Let's get it.
Let's dive into it. So one of the things that's coming out this time of year is typically we start to see a leak for the new sets that are coming out. We have acquired a possible leak list here that does have Mega Evolution Phantasmal Flames on it. So the first set that comes after that is Legendary Dreams. And if this is the case, it looks like we're going to have the Gengar set that everybody wanted. We have a leak of a deck from Japan, I think it's already out, that does feature a Mega Gengar EX, but from what we can understand, Phantasmal Flames does not have an SIR Gengar, so we might be seeing it in this Legendary Dream set, which is a special set. So speaking of special sets, Jack, what is a special set when it comes to Japanese?
Yeah, so for most people that don't know, Japanese typically come out with booster boxes that have 30 card packs or 30 packs in a box. Each pack has 5 cards in it. Typically in Japan, they have multiple sets that make up our one English set. So for instance, like Mega Evolution in Japan was Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia. Those two sets combined to make our Mega Evolution set in English. So what they do at the end of every year is they do what they call a high class set. And they will have booster boxes that only have 10 packs in them instead of 30, but each pack has 10 cards instead of 5. And then every pack will have a minimum EX or V card pool that you get from each pack. For instance, in Terastal Festival, you're guaranteed like a Iron Valiant EX, Pheasant Skippity EX, Miraidon EX. Same in Shiny Treasures. Every high class pack has a minimum guarantee of an EX or V card or higher. The other difference with high class sets in Japan is every box is guaranteed one what they call SARs. SARs in Japan are our versions of SIRs in English. They're called secret art rares instead of secret illustration rares. Also, with the high class sets, you're guaranteed an SAR Pokemon. So if you pull like an SAR trainer card out of your high class box, you're still going to get an SAR Pokemon in the box as well. We call those typically double hit boxes or error boxes. There's also the possibility, as most of you know, of God packs in high class sets, where every card in the 10 card pack is an illustration rare or higher. Sometimes they're all SARs. Sometimes they're like 7 illustration rares and 3 SARs. It just depends on how Japan decides they want to structure it. But yeah, it sounds like that's going to be our high class set this year. And a lot of the times what they'll do is they'll revisit cards from earlier in the year and they'll give some love to some of the cards that maybe didn't get a special illustration rare. Like, for instance, in V-Star Universe, which was the high class set in Sword and Shield that was our Crown Zenith, Darkrai V-Star didn't get an alt art in Astral Radiance, but they gave Darkrai V-Star an alt art in V-Star Universe. So it's very likely that we may get a Mega Gengar SIR in this year's high class set since Mega Gengar EX isn't getting an SIR in Phantasmal Flames. They have also gone and done different versions of alternate arts and SIRs. For instance, in Terastal Festival, we got a SIR Iron Valiant, even though Iron Valiant already had an SIR in Paradox Rift. So we may get like a new Team Rocket's Mewtwo SIR in this set at the end of the year. We could get a different variation of Mega Gardevoir or Mega Manectric, for instance, could get an SIR who didn't get one in Mega Evolution. I know it's one of your favorites, Mike. So yeah, very exciting stuff. But it sounds like that's going to be our high class set this year. Typically, those release right before Christmas in Japan, and then we get them in English typically the first week of January or the second week of January. So we won't actually get it in English until a little bit after the holidays, but it's still exciting nonetheless.
I think it's interesting to see what's going to happen here because for it seems like a couple years now, every other set has been a shiny related set where you start to have the baby shinies show up. This does not appear to be that. I wonder if we do get maybe a subset of a few baby shinies where it's not a ton of them, or maybe we just get some, you know, art rares of, like you said, there's some cards that get some SIRs that were not given before. But I wonder if we're going to get some art rares, like for example, the Misty's Gyarados comes to mind because that card didn't get one, and I'm still surprised that it didn't. Misty's Lapras and Psyduck did, but I wonder if this is going to be an opportunity for them to go back and grab something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to say because they keep changing things up, right? Like with Black Bolt, White Flare, we had 150 something illustration rares, and nobody really saw that coming. And then you get something like Prismatic that had 32 SIRs but zero illustration rares. Then you get like Crown Zenith that has 32 SIRs and a whole subset of Trainer Gallery illustration rares. So it's always something different. But to your point, I don't think we're getting shinies either because typically they have like a very relatable title to the set. If it's going to be a shiny set, like Hidden Fates, Shining Fates, Paldean Fates, and then in Japanese, Shiny Treasures, so on and so forth. But it wouldn't surprise me if they get away from the whole baby shiny gimmick altogether and come up with a new version of shinies that they release. And now that it's a new era with Mega and everything, I wouldn't be shocked if we just somehow have a new random way of getting shiny cards and they just label their whole shiny series and get away from the Fates thing altogether. Who knows?
I wouldn't be opposed to that, but the one shiny I would maybe expect to see if they want to do it is the Mega Gengar, because back when Megas were out, they did do, at least I know for a fact, Mega Gengar had a shiny, that white kind of ghost looking one, as an option. So I could see them doing that. As it could even be the SIR, just something to just really throw people off. Maybe have one SIR as that and then do another one that is the shiny. Because I wasn't really in with Megas, but I do know that they did, for example, I know the Charizard has a Mega Charizard X that's a very, high price card, and then they have one that's like insane, way higher. I don't know what the difference is, but one was a secret rare and one wasn't. So I could see them doing something along those lines where it's still a big hit, but maybe they throw in a shiny as like a, hey, we got you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all at this point. There's so many
Yeah.
different gimmicks they've done. It's yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, so after Legendary Dreams being the specialty set here, it looks like we have one possibly called Shadow Storm. I'm not sure where this is going, honestly. I could see it being a big focus on maybe some dark Pokemon. I'd love to see some more love for Darkrai, but I think the obvious one that comes to mind with it being Legends ZA themed is Yveltal, but the Storm is really throwing me off on this. Maybe we get some Xerneas and Yveltal.
Yeah, so Z to A, obviously, a lot of the times with the trading card game, as new sets release, they're related to whatever game is like the big game in the VGC space as well at the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shadow Storm is for Yveltal, who hasn't gotten a lot of love in the past, as far as just artwork wise and things of that nature. Plus, we've kind of talked about this before with the Emerald set dropping after that, more than likely being Zygarde. They've done something similar with Astral Radiance where they had Palkia and Dialga, and the Brilliant Stars had Arceus. So it would make sense for it to be related to Z to A and be like a Yveltal Xerneas into Zygarde kind of thing. So I could definitely see that being the case. But I'm with you. Shadow Storm isn't something that's really on the nose for me. So you guys out there in the comments section, let us know your thoughts and what you think might be Shadow Storm. We would love to hear it because we're all ears over here.
Yeah, what do you think it's going to be, and what do you hope to see in a set like this? I think that Shadow Storm is kind of we'll call it the lull before the big end of the storm of this.
Yeah, fitting.
But I think this is our lull set, but that doesn't mean we're not going to get some really cool stuff out of it. Because when I look back at what some of the lull sets were before, they're all starting to pick up. One of Jack and I's favorite sets is Temporal Forces, and
Yeah.
that was prime lull set. Nobody cared. But
Still doesn't get a lot of love.
no, but it had incredible art all throughout, especially Tezero's work of the Ancient Three.
Great set.
So
Brought back A-Specs too. Great set.
mhm. Yeah, I think that this is going to be the one that you can really probably get the product for. Last year's was Journey Together. Looks like it's very possible this lines up at that same time period too, where it's, you're probably looking at March for this. And yeah, that's about right. That's our lull set. It seems like all the lull sets come out in March, just
Yeah.
right after that specialty set that just blows everybody out of the water. So I think the look in Shadowstorm, I think we're going to see some really cool stuff. But what are you guys hoping to see? I know personally, I'm hoping to see dark Pokemon. I'm hoping to see some Darkrai love, and Xerneas just hasn't gotten any love for a long time, and I think it's time. I think Xerneas deserves its time in the spotlight.
Yeah, I agree. You know how I feel about that with the Veltal too.
Mm-hmm. You gotta get your boy some love.
I'm saying, man. Finally got his playable though.
After that, we're showing possible Emerald Surge, which, if we are having Xerneas and Yveltal be featured in Shadowstorm, it only makes sense for that to be Zygarde, and we've got quite a few forms of Zygarde to work with here. So I think we're going to see some Zygarde love here. I'm not sure what else, but I mean, that alone, I don't know what kind of love Zygarde's even gotten. A couple floors.
I was just gonna say, talk about no love for a Pokemon. I don't remember the last time I saw a Zygarde card, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty spot on, especially with Zeta A releasing and everything. I can't see it not being Zygarde, especially like you said with the multiple forms to work with, and there's a lot there they can tap into.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they do for that. Maybe do some illustration rares, and then the full form, the big one, be your SIR. Maybe they're all SIRs. You never know with Pokemon, but
Yeah.
I think this is kind of one of those two sets that work together and kind of in your mind kind of meld together. For me, Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift kind of did that.
Yeah.
Where they're similar enough that they just worked well together. Like, oh yeah, this has ancients, this has futures. Yeah, this makes sense that these are kind of one giant set. So with that is really telling me that I think we're going to see some Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde, especially because ZA is set in that region.
Yeah. I think so too.
Now we get to a problem. I don't know when this is going to stop, where Pokemon just says, you know what, we're going to give you guys a break. But I'm going to tell you what, it's not 2026. 2026 summer is where we're at this point. And it's looking like, if this is real, we have a big problem. I'm showing Radiant Ruby and Shining Sapphire, which can only mean one thing. Gen 3.
Yeah.
And we're probably looking at a very similar type setup to what we had with Black and White, where we're going to have binder collections, poster collections. You can compare it to 151 too. It's the same style. In Japanese, we're probably going to get 20 pack boxes. Knowing Pokemon and their love of doing these Pokeball Hollows, we're probably getting those.
Yeah.
I don't see any way that Radiant Ruby and Shining Sapphire, or whatever they end up calling this Ruby homage set, or this Gen 3 homage set, not being a problem.
Yeah, I mean, here's the big thing, right? Is it's going to be a specialty set, and we know what to expect now, because we've had it with 151, we've had it with Prismatic, we've had it with Black and White. There's no booster boxes. ETBs are going to be the main way of getting your hands on these cards. The best shot at pulling the big hitters. So ETBs are going to be $300 out the gate. We already know it. And it's something we've touched on before. It's not that there won't be enough product, it's just that it's all going to the wrong place. You can get it if you want it. You're just gonna have to pay, X amount of dollars to get it. That's the big issue, right? And I think something else that you have to keep in mind is that Gen 3 is potentially the most fan favorite set of all time. It's right in the middle of those generations where people stopped playing at Gen 2 because it kind of phased out. Pokemon kind of fizzled at that point. And then you've got the new era into like Scarlet Violet and the kids that play that these days. For that, big chunk of collectors are Gen 3 to like Gen 7. And Gen 3 was the big boy that brought in the Sky Dragon that everybody loves. So it's going to be a problem for sure. At least that's what I'm preparing for. I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope Pokemon figures something out with the printing presses by then, and there's no issue and products just everywhere. Again, the other thing to keep in mind though with these specialty sets, it's all going to go back to what we always talk about with FOMO, because these specialty sets get printed multiple times throughout the year. You're going to see waves and waves of it come out. The same as Prismatic's done, the same as Black Bolt and White Flare have done. It's just everybody's going to want it now, like when it drops now, and that's where like the FOMO comes in, and that's why you get these $300 ETBs and everything, because everybody has to have it right now, and if you don't, you feel like you're missing out. But really, it's going to be here all year. They're still dropping Prismatic collection boxes. They just dropped that full art Umbreon Espeon figure collection box for Prismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're coming out with new ancillary product all the time for these specialty sets. So it'll be available. It's just going to be a little rough. You just got to weather the storm. And yeah, it's going to be tough though. This one's going to hurt. It's going to be pretty detrimental.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that we don't have a full black and white reset here, where as cool as it was to have 156 illustration rares or however many it was, I don't necessarily want that again. I'd love to have a lot, but it almost seemed too much. Like, it was nice that, like, if you really want black and white product, you can go out and get some really awesome art, a lot of illustration rares for a really good price at this point. But you're still seeing the price of the packs be really high just because there's so much demand. That's the part that I didn't quite get. And Jack, you and I have talked about this, that we thought kind of this would be a set that kind of died off a little bit because there was so much that you could pull. But in all honesty, I've opened a lot of black and white with 156 illustration rares and SIRs. I thought that it was going to be easier to pull them. All I ever pull is Pokeballs, a ton of them.
Yeah.
So
I do that. I can't pull an SIR from those sets to save my life. Those sets hate me, bro.
I don't know what it is, but I'm really hoping that, I don't know if it's probably not going to be Radiant Ruby and Shining Sapphire, but I am really hoping that we get just a freaking slow ball pitch from Pokemon that just gives us really great stuff. I want another Crown Zenith.
30th anniversary.
Yes, and
I'm telling you, every anniversary set, the pulls are just super easy, and they're everywhere, and nobody wants them until the next anniversary hits, and then you get Celebrations 25th that just go nuts because people know the 30th is coming. It happens every time.
Yeah. With that being said, the next set coming out after Radiant Ruby and Shining Sapphire is, the potential name that we're seeing right here is Eternals, which would go in line with what they've been calling these, which is a cool name, but that is the 30th anniversary set. I'd imagine that's going to be coming out in what, like August, September-ish?
Yeah, probably late July.
For anybody who hasn't been in the hobby long enough to have experienced these in person, I'm one of them, but I've researched how this went. They put out these celebration sets. We have Celebrations, we have Evolutions, we have Generations, and now possibly Eternals. They are typically homage sets where they have some reprints, they have some kind of throwback to something that was before. I think all three of them so far have had reprints of the original big three. I'm thinking we're not going to see that again, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some other hollow pattern or something. The one thing that throws me off is we did just get another reprint in that classic collection box thing of the big three again. So I don't know how many different versions of this they can make, but it's getting old.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it is interesting they released that classic collection box knowing the 30th anniversary was coming up because typically they do just drop like a reprint of base set style cards. And they may very well again. This time they could be like collection box promos or something guaranteed versus having to pull them like they were in 25th.
mhm,
Something I would really like to see them do that I think would be really cool would to take like iconic artworks and give us like shiny versions of them.
mhm.
I think that'd be really sick if you could get like a Moonbreon that has a shiny Umbreon reaching for the moon instead of a regular one, but make the pull rates like super easy so that people who can't like, because a lot of people know they're never going to own a Moonbreon at this point, right? Like it's just too hard to pull. They don't have $2,000 to drop on cardboard. Nobody does. But if you could pull one for your collection, just super easy, that has a really cool like shiny Umbreon on there, just to give it its own like uniqueness to it. I think that would be really cool for the fans and everybody to be able to get like, or any other iconic card like Rayquaza VMAX from Evolving Skies, or even I don't know, the Lugia from Silver Tempest, like a shiny Lugia versus a regular one, and just that'd be really cool. These ideas though, it's too late. The things that Pokemon does for these anniversary sets, they've planned like a year in advance what they're doing and started already designing and prepping for this. So who knows what they thought of a year ago versus what they potentially could have done now that they know what they know versus back then. Because a year ago, people don't realize it wasn't like this a year ago. Really. A year ago, we were just getting out of Stellar Crown and Surging Sparks was about to drop. That's where we were a year from today.
Mhm.
Like, and Stellar Crown was still like $100 a booster box. Things
Yeah,
weren't crazy. It wasn't that long ago. This has only been going on for about 11 months now. This market.
the first set I remember starting to creep up was Surging Sparks. Of course, it was a Pikachu set that set this off, but when it goes down to it, you're looking at the specialty set after it being Prismatic Evolutions that really set this into a different trajectory. But yeah, you're right. You know, if we're thinking back to what they would have wanted to promote at that time, I think one of the things that comes to mind is an unappreciated art style was primes. I think we might see a couple primes thrown in this. It's possible we could see a couple more delta species. They did a couple gold stars too in the last in celebrations, but I don't know. There's a couple different art styles and different card styles that are out there that they could definitely reprint and that are not getting that kind of love.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. Yeah, I like the primes a lot. I know they did a little bit of prime action in 25th celebrations, but I think, like you were saying, they didn't really make it obvious. You just had like the same stylized artwork with the little star on the eye, and there was a Don fan, and I think you brought up the Dragapult too.
yeah, the Dragapult and Dawn Fan are both in the same style where they have the gold lettering, they have the star on the eye. They've got the up close look to them.
Yeah,
So
I think it'd
it,
be cool if they did like a big homage to Delta species too.
yeah,
I
because
really like the Delta species.
I do too, and I think in celebrations they only had one. I
Yeah,
think it was just a
for you guys who
Gardevoir.
don't know, Delta species is they took Pokemon and they gave them alternate typings. So you had like a Lightning Mewtwo, and you had like a I think it was like a Fire type Gardevoir.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a cool idea where they just kind of mixed things up, kind of like they did with the Lightning Mewtwo, the Terra one. Um, they kind of touched back on that, didn't they, with the terastallized
Yeah,
typings? Yeah,
a little bit, and you know that was more so a game mechanic than a TCG mechanic. But yeah, it definitely went toward that same route of changing the typing, giving you something different. I just don't think that they quite hit the right way. You know, you had your dark type Charizard, you had
yeah.
a couple other ones. I think there was a water type
Ice Cube,
Serena. Ice Cube
Ice
was
Cube.
fire. Yeah. And definitely interesting. I just don't think that they hit the way that Delta species did, and to
Yeah.
see Delta species come back would be very, very cool. One question I have for you: Do you think that we see a similar logo this time to what
Mm.
we had in 25th, where we have a Pikachu head and the cheeks are the numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Short
I
answer, yeah.
do too. I don't.
It's too easy for them, man. It's
Yeah,
too easy. They're just printing money, bro, and they know what works. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You
I
know.
also wonder if we're going to see a similar style that we did in Celebrations, where you have 4 card packs instead of a
That's what
larger.
I'm curious. Yeah. You know what's
Because
weird is the ETBs. They had 4 card packs, but you got like 15 packs in an ETB instead of 9.
well,
So,
they also gave you some regular packs in that too, didn't they? Like,
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
I think there was like Darkness Ablaze. There's some
yeah.
other
Which I
sets.
wouldn't mind that if they did that. They gave you like some of the iconic sets from earlier in the year, and then they drop in the anniversary packs too. That'd be cool. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, I like the way they handled 25th, honestly, a little bit more than how they handled Evolutions and Generations. I think that those were just kind of sets with cool, like, what was it? Was it Evolutions or Generations that was basically a base set reprint?
Evolutions.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
cool reverse hollows. That's it.
yeah. I wasn't a fan either.
Generations had some megas. Generation had some other things thrown in there, but I think that the way they handled Celebrations, where it wasn't just one thing, like you had level X's, you had I don't think there's any megas, but you had a Delta species, you had some
Yeah, gold
prime,
stars,
yeah, a couple
gold
gold
star
stars.
Umbreon. You had yeah, it was. I like the way they did it too because they also kind of broke it up into 2 things. They had like
Mhm.
classic collection and then the set itself, right?
Right.
So that was pretty cool too. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind the 4 card packs again. I guess. I just want it to be fun. I want it to feel good. If you're gonna have to like break your back trying to get your hands on some packs, whether that's camping outside of GameStop for days or whatever. When you finally get them and get to open the packs, I hope you pull like just fun. You're pulling hits left and right. Just fuck screw the value, dude. Whatever. Don't worry about that, but just have fun opening and experiencing and reliving those memories of past cards and iconic cards that you've seen throughout the years before all this craziness that got you into the hobby when you were set. So it's like still having fun with it, right? Like I just hope it's that again. And that the people who do have to wait out days at a time to get their hands on some packs are rewarded for that and get to like pull some really cool iconic cards. And it's not just like impossible prismatic pull rates and good luck getting anything cool out of any of these besides some Pokeball reverses, like that's what I hope for. But we'll see.
Yeah. To recap how the next year could possibly go, we're sitting at Mega Evolution right now being the first set of the era, followed by Phantasmal Flames, which we already know is going to be a mess. It's a Charizard set. It's going to be a mess. Followed by Legendary Dreams, which is very likely a Gengar focused set. Following that is Shadow Storm, which we talked about could be your Xerneas and Yveltal. Emerald Surge to follow that, which we believe to be Zygarde themed. And then you have the Radiant Ruby, Shining Sapphire, and then 30th Anniversary.
One
I don't.
last thing on the Dream set. I think you're gonna get your Mega Dragonite SIR.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point there. I think you might have Gengar and Dragonite being the big two from that, and with Mega Dragonite being a completely new design,
Yeah.
that's going to be a really nice addition to the TCG in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a year ahead of us of really, really interesting product coming out. I think they have a nice slate here for us. I think that we have a lot of people in the hobby, and I think I'd like to think that they are increasing their ability to print product. So I hope we see a flood in the market of all this product. Um, and I think, as we go through this, there's going to be some videos we put out of, hey, now's the time to look back at this set if these sets aren't available. We need to be able to still be able to enjoy the hobby by, if your version of enjoying the hobby is opening packs, we're going to find a way for you to be able to do that. And I think the best way to do that is, as hype increases for new sets, to go back to the sets that maybe right now are impossible to get. Things equalize. It takes time. For a while there, you could get all the Shrouded Fable you wanted. Nobody wanted it.
It's true.
And it was because everybody was on Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolution. But then people started to look at it and say, oh, wait a minute. There's some cool stuff in this set. I want to get this set. So it became less available, but we're just going to.
Obsidian Flames was the same way. Nobody wanted Obsidian Flames. Here's the thing with Phantasmal Flames. It's a very small set. It's 94 cards in the main set. There's a lot of similarities with Obsidian Flames to Phantasmal Flames. They're both very small sets. They're single. They're 1-for-1 in Japan. The Japanese set is one set. English is one set. And there's two bangers that everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else cares about the rest of the cards, really. Let's be real. Besides, the real collectors that actually enjoy the artwork and everything. But the money investor bros and all those guys, they want the Charizards. Yep. That's it. Everything else in the set is fodder to them. And it's a small set. But here's the thing with these small sets and why Obsidian Flames fell off the map the way it did. When the set is this small, there's a smaller pool of SIRs. And when there's a smaller pool of SIRs, the odds of pulling the one that everybody wants is greater. Because instead of trying to get 1 out of 13 SIRs, you're trying to get 1 out of 6. Right? So you got a 1 in 6 shot of pulling the Zard or whoever you want for your SIR versus a 1 in 13 shot of pulling it from the bigger sets. So as this set gets open, more and more Charizards are going to flood the market. Their value is going to drop. People won't be able to sell them for $500 a pop because they're being pulled too often by everybody else, and the people who actually want them are actually pulling them. And then it goes to the wayside like Obsidian Flames did. That's why that Charizard by Kirigawa was $50. And it's finally starting to retrace and get back up to where it should be because the Obsidian Flames is hard to find now. But right. I could see the set doing something very similar. The gold Zard is a different story because I don't know what the pull rates look like for the new gold cards or whatever. I don't know what that's going to do. But as far as the SIR Zard, I think it'll be a lot easier for you guys to get your hands on that card than you think.
I think this is also with these new golds, this is the first time we're seeing the golds sit above SIRs. And I'm not entirely sure why this time is different.
It's because of the black-white rarities. The chromatic black and white Reshiram. These gold cards are the same pull rates as those chromatic rarities, and they're being treated as such. The gold Zardi or Guardian Lucario are being treated as the Zekrom Reshiram chromatic. That's why they're so expensive.
Which was the original intent of them making golds. It didn't work that way for a long time. So,
if you think about it, other sets that have gold cards have trainer gold cards, stadium gold cards, there's full art gold cards, like this is the first set in a while where there's only 2 gold cards, and it's the Guardi and the Lucario. There's no trainer golds or any of the other golds you can pull. So I wonder if that has something to do with it as well.
That's a great point. Let's talk about grading as we get into, this.
Grading.
Jack's favorite subject. And honestly, it's really turning into almost a taboo subject in the collector world of the TCG. I think, you're always going to have investor bros talk about grading because, when you see the returns, when you go from a raw card to a 10, it's honestly part of what is fueling this just surge to the hobby is money. Of course, money's always going to be a drawing factor for people who don't understand it. But when you're looking at a card that just came out being, $5-6, but if it's a 10, it's 200, people are going to notice. But that's on such a lower level scale. When you start to see these higher end cards where, that might be a 20x multiplier right there, but it's really only $195 profit. And then you see the big hits where you are doubling to tripling but they're already $400. So you're looking at $1,200 to $1,600 to $2,000 cards right off the bat that maintain that cost. So I think it's very important to address grading, especially with somebody who isn't somebody who goes out and grades all the time. While there's also me who grades probably too much, but honestly, it's for my own collection because I like having graded cards. So let's dive into this and let's get everybody on a page that they feel comfortable enough to maybe submit themselves or comfortable enough to go to a card show and understand I'm okay not getting the graded copy. I just want to find a copy that looks really good in my binder, or as I like to call them, binder buddies.
Right. So here's the thing. So I'm not opposed to grading. I just want to get that out there. If you want to grade your cards and you want to make sure they're protected, I've got no issue with that. Where I don't like grading is I don't like paying somebody to ship my cards off for months at a time and leave them out there in the ether somewhere where I don't know where they're at or when I'm going to get them back. And I don't like paying somebody to tell me whether or not my card is in the condition that I already know it's in. Yeah, you could give me a 9. It's still near mint if it's a 9, right? Versus a 10. It's not going to be worth 5 times the money or whatever. But for me personally, I don't like shipping my cards out into the ether, getting them back in a different condition than what I sent them out in, which I've seen happen multiple times. And I don't like not knowing when I'm going to get them back. And I don't like the fact that they get encased in something and somebody decides that my card is an 8 when I clearly feel that it's a different grade because they had a bad day that day, right? Like what people don't understand is there are multiple factors that go into grading your card. It depends on who's grading it. It depends on what company you're grading with. It depends on, honestly, what kind of day they're having. Because you can get somebody who had a real bad morning and decides, you know what, screw it, everybody's getting 8s today. You can get somebody that has a great day, great morning, and they're like, you know what, everybody's getting 10s today. You know, I've seen 10s come back that should be 7s. It just doesn't make sense to me in most of the cases. I don't know how much of it's even population control and what they're doing to make sure that they maintain and manipulate the market the way that they want it to be manipulated. I don't know if that's real or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I don't like that an AGS 10 is worth less than a PSA 10. What's the difference? They're both graded. They're both 10s. They're both near mint. They're both encapsulated in the casings. One's just a different company than the other. I don't like that you've got to decide between AI grading and somebody having a bad day or not. I don't like that if AI grading goes wrong and something gets tweaked in the system, everybody that had 10s that suddenly gets 7s for the day because the AI system had some kind of malfunction in it when it was grading that day. There's just too many unknowns, too many factors for me. Personally, it's not worth it, in my opinion, to pay money, then have my card get a 10, and then come back and say, I'm not going to send you your card back unless you give me $100 more. Why does everybody have to have a piece of the pie, man? Like, I'm okay with my collection being in top loaders, knowing what condition my cards are in myself, and enjoying the cards for what they are. I'm a type of collector that doesn't look at the value or care about 10xing my money based on getting a 10 or not. I'm okay with having the card in a top loader and knowing where it is, knowing it's locked away safe, and where I want to go look at it whenever I want to, and I don't have to wait 5 months to get it back. If I want a graded card, personally, I'm going to just go buy a card that's already graded.
Right. One of the things you can do when buying graded cards yourself, which one, immediately you save yourself $25 plus shipping, which recently for PSA, for example, if you grade with them, it's $27.99. And then you have to pay them to ship it back to you, which is $20. It doesn't matter how many cards there are, it goes up accordingly based on how much value is there. But you also got to send them your cards, which say that's $5-6. So to grade one card, they advertise it's $27.99. But what you're really paying is your $27.99 for your card, $20 to ship it back to you, and $5 to ship it there. So you're really looking at $55 to $60, depending on taxes, depending on how much it costs you to ship it. And that's their lowest tier. That is going to take them a long time. For example, I have an order that I sent out at the end of July. It isn't done. I haven't had these cards in 3 months, and that's just fine because that's how they work. yes, PSA does command the highest value in the market. There is no doubt they're like cash. They are liquid. If you want to get rid of them, you can, no problem. And that's where this almost monopoly mentality comes in of PSA 10s are all anybody cares about. But that brings up a topic I really want to talk about, and that is the underappreciation of PSA 9s. So
Yeah.
when you go to PSA or most grading companies, a PSA 10 is called Gem Mint. That means that it is not only in good condition where it has good centering, good corners, no scratches on it. It has all of those qualities where it is within a certain range centering wise, meaning the yellow borders or silver borders on the edge of the cards on the front is within, they want a 55 to 45 ratio. That means it can be 55% on one side and 45% on the other. That is the lowest percentage that they will allow. So if you have one that's 57-43, that kind of gets into the realm of what Jack was saying of if somebody's having a bad day, they're not going to give it to you. If somebody's having a good day, they might give it to you.
Yeah.
But that also goes for the back of the card. It's a lot more lenient on that. But a PSA 9 likely is a centering issue or one kind of small nick in a corner. So I have some PSA 9s with me, and we're going to play a fun game of what's wrong with the PSA 9. So let's take a look. Hold on, let me get my camera up here.
While you're doing that, I just want to touch on this as well.
Yeah,
When I say that, like, if I want a card graded, I'll go buy it graded. I am specifically looking for 9s. Because 9s are literally near mint cards that have minor imperfections that just don't make them a 10 according to whoever decided that. Whereas like a 9, you can do multiple things with a 9. You can crack it and resubmit it if you're really into grading and want to get a 10. You resubmit it enough, I guarantee you'll get a 10 eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can keep it protected in a case as a 9, the same that you would if you pulled it out of pack and put it in a top loader, only it's in a case because it's literally that is the condition of the card, is pack fresh as if you just put it in the top loader. That's what a 9 is. It's just not perfect centering or perfect whatever. So I can buy a graded 9 for the same price almost 98% of the time that I would pay for a raw version of that card. Because a 9, for whatever reason in the market, is valued as the same as a raw version of a card. It just takes me back to why grading makes 0 sense in my brain. Because I would think, honestly, a 9, just because the grading alone should increase the value by $20 because you paid $20 to put a freaking plastic wrap around it. Like, I don't know, Mike. You're the grader, man. You tell me if I'm tripping here.
For me, as I collect vintage Japanese 9s, that's not the case at all. Vintage and even mid-era stuff as 9s does hold a higher value. We're starting to see, it's not super common, but stuff that's about a year old. So you're looking at, some temporal forces stuff. I'm going to go with 2 years, actually. We're going to push it to 2 years, where 9s are holding a little bit higher as you would expect. So as soon as the set goes out of print, that's when the 9s start to hold a little bit higher of a value than raw. So
I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. But as they're new and you can pull it, you're still not guaranteed a 9, especially with certain sets. So it depends. But as I was going to say here, let's take a look at a 9 and find what's wrong with this. This is a Cynthia's Garchomp Level X from Celebrations. Let me see if I can get this glare down. Okay. I do know what's wrong with this, but it is on the front. Does this look like a good card to you?
Yeah. If I had to guess, I'm going to say it's an edge problem.
Nope.
I just can't see it from here very well. Is there a corner in that top left? Is
Nope.
that top left corner name?
It is a front centering issue.
Oh, Garchomp's tooth is crooked, and he's missing the bottom left molar. So
this is a beautiful card. This card,
gorgeous card.
As a 10 is.
Side note, that is an anniversary card for you guys who missed 25th anniversary. That's kind of what we're talking about with that stamp, with the Pikachu stamp, and what you can maybe expect in the 30th anniversary. Beautiful card.
That card is a 10 is pushing $100.
Mm,
That
that's
card,
surprising. I thought it'd be more.
you'd think it will be soon.
It will be, yeah.
That card is a 9. Would you like to guess the price, Jack?
$15.
You are correct. That card is $15. It costs more to grade that card than this card is worth.
Doesn't make any sense. But to your point, the nines that are vintage and older, they aren't the same value as raw, right? So
Correct.
having known that, you can get nines now for the same price as raw cards and wait 2 years from now when the set's out of print, and your nines will increase in value and you will make some kind of return on them. But yeah, to your point, Mike, you're paying more for the grading than what the card's worth as a 9. What are we doing here? Like, this is why I don't send my stuff in for grading personally. Like,
Yeah, I
I
think I think if you like slabs and you really like to look like I do, I send out stuff that I know that's going to do well. I go through, I make sure the corners are good, I make sure the centering's good, I make sure there's no scratches, I check the back, make sure to clean them off with a microfiber cloth and send them in. If I just want a card that's graded, I just go online, I search for the card I want, and then just add PSA 9 at the end. I have a massive collection of 9s. They look excellent. And
100%.
a story I have, and this is diving into a bit of a gray area with PSA right now, is actually from one of our viewers whose name is Ty. Ty sent in a Bubble Mew to PSA. He got it back. He got a 9. PSA offered this new deal where if you grade with them and sell with them, they'll give you a discounted price. Big time. On a quick turnaround. So he's like, okay, I really thought this Bubble Mew was good. I'm going to send it in again under this graded grade and sell special. Guess what happened?
You got a 10.
He got a 10.
Yeah.
And they sold it. They got their kick from it. He got his kick from it. They went their separate ways. That's where this is getting dangerous. This is
That's
where
what I'm
this is
saying.
turning into something I
If it
don't
benefits me, I'll make it a 10, right?
exactly. So that makes me think that they're doing this on purpose to really crank up numbers of 10s so that they sell. I can't prove it, obviously, but that's a pretty good example of how the same card can get different grades. And as you talked about with AI being different, I partner and grade with AGS a lot for my personal collection. They did a test where they sent in the same card 5 times through the system. Where they not own, like they went, they cracked it, they submitted it again. They got the same exact grade, and they give subgrades. So it has all the subgrades, everything was identical. Does that mean that that's the future of grading? I don't know. I like it because I get a report of what's wrong. For example, one of the cards I just graded recently is this Origin Form Dialga, which got a 9.5. When I got the report back, I got a surface issue problem on the back. I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. I don't think I noticed anything. Sure enough, it came up on the scans. It showed me exactly where it was. I got the card back and I looked, and sure enough, there was a print line from a roller on the back that I didn't catch. It caught it. A person would probably catch it too, but I'd never know why it got what it got. So
Person probably wouldn't catch it, honestly.
they might have not. I mean, I can't believe that I had to have it under a very bright light to catch it. But in fairness, that is not a 10. Shouldn't be a 10. And it caught it and made sure that it wasn't.
Yeah, I wish they all gave reports like that. I know some of them do, like AGS. But yeah, it's interesting to me that PSA doesn't. Here's the thing,
for the right price.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess. Yeah, I don't know, man. whole grading thing to me is just its own monster that I just have a hard time tackling because I've just seen so many horror stories with it and so many things that just don't make sense. And I don't know. If you guys like to grade your cards, I have no problem with that, and I encourage you to do what makes you happy and makes your collection how you want it. Especially if you're doing displays and stuff and you want it protected, totally get that. If you want return value of 10x on your card or whatever, so you want to grade it, totally get that too. Not opposed to that. I think it's great for everybody. It's just it's not for everybody. These are things that you need to be aware of if you're going to grade for the first time. Is all I want you to understand. At the same time, there are thousands of everything went 100% perfect for me when I did my submission stories that you could pull from as well. And it may very well happen for you as well. When you submit your cards, more than likely it will. More than likely there won't be any problems, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But just be aware that there could be. What I think you should also understand is what to look for when you decide whether or not you should send a card in, which, Mike, I'm going to leave this for you because you have more experience with this than I do, obviously. So when you're pulling a card, what are some of the things that you're immediately looking for before you decide, you know what, I'm going to take a stab at getting a 10 on this?
So as somebody who grades, for a while here, I did this to fund the hobby. And so I would grab cards raw, grade them, send them when they come back, sell them for a profit to buy myself more cards to get into what I really wanted. I don't do that as much anymore because I don't truly believe in it, but I do grade for my own. And of course I want 10s. So what I do is a pretty simple process. Whenever I go and look for raw cards, the first thing I'm looking for immediately is the front centering of the card. So let's take a look at, let's do this clay doll from Celebrations. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go. So what I'm looking for is the top and bottom centering to be as equal as you can. And as you can see on this card, the top is thicker than the bottom. The right and left on this, same idea, right and left, is pretty good on this card. So I know for a fact that PSA would not 10 this because of that centering not being equal on the top and bottom. Remember, I said 55%, 45%. The next part is to go to the back. This is typically where you start to see whitening around the corners, where either a print error happened or just wear and tear on the card. So on this one, I look at each of the corners and you see there's a nice little white nick right here. It's not that there's damage. You also have another one right over here. It's not that there's necessarily damage, but something might have happened when it cut. So I know that this isn't even worth sending in to me, even though we look at the front and we say, okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. I think a lot of people overlook the backs.
100%.
So the backs are at a lower standard where they need to be, I believe it's 70-30 on the back, but 70-30 is such an odd number to think about.
That's so off-centered too.
Right.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy-sided on just 70-30. What? What are we doing?
That doesn't deserve to be a 10 in my opinion.
No.
That's like when I send with AGS, sometimes I'll forget that their standards for the back are the same as the front. They just don't weigh them as heavily. They have a whole algorithm they go through. So it's easy to forget that. But when you go to PSA, that back, it can be really bad, honestly. But
it's crazy.
But the front is so intense. So when you're looking at cards, you need to look at the corners. You need to look at the sides. Look at how they're cut. I have another example of a card that looks really, really good here. So one of the other things to look at is, I'm going to try and show this, but not every cut is good. It is a machine that goes through. So this is a Pokemon Go Cosmos Holo Pikachu. Looks very good centering wise, but this top corner has a very weird cut on it. It's almost square.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they're flying through things, we've talked about this before with why Celebrations is so hard to grade. sometimes when they're running through packs, which I don't think they really did with Pokemon Go, but with Celebrations, they absolutely did. You'll get some gnarly cuts on the side that I don't know if it was just because they were going so fast trying to pump it out, but a lot of cards from Celebrations weren't gradable for that reason. So you need to make sure that the corner is nice and rounded. You need to make sure that the centering is good, no white marks, no scratches on the hollow foil, which that's typically for older cards, but once again, Celebrations had issues with that too, which out of the pack they had like hairline scratches on them. So when you go through that, you can use centering tools. You can find them online. They're very easy to use. You just line it up and it tells you numbers on the side that mean different centerings. Just make sure you go through with a fine-tooth comb. When you're done with making sure the centering and the whitening is okay, you can use I use Q-tips to go over the hollow foil just very lightly. You can also use a microfiber cloth. Do not use any cleaning solution. PSA says they'll detect it, which there are some out there that they say they can't if you wipe them all off. That, and also temper your expectations with cleaning solutions. They can get rid of some surface scratches, but the deeper scratches, think of it like using polish on your car. It's the same idea. You're not going to get everything out, but you can give yourself a chance at a better grade if it looks really bad. I've seen some awesome transformations of cards. But so if you go through and just make sure all those things are good, send them out. I would recommend just either, if you want to grade with PSA, maybe go to your local GameStop and grade through them. You'll get it back just through them. They'll handle a lot of it. But once you pick a card that's good, you need to put it in a penny sleeve and then put it in this. This is called a semi-rigid holder. What this does is it's not a top loader. As you can see, it's very thin. This will allow your card to not be damaged in transit because it holds it very tightly, like this Keldeo that I have here. As you can see, it does not move. It stays right where it is because it holds pressure on each part. Versus if I were to have a card in a top loader and I would move it around, it does move a little bit. I have fit sleeves in this that hold it in place, but a lot of people don't. So
might want to, if you can as well, get like a pull tab. Those I don't know what they're called. They're like little sticky notes you can get at Walmart. They're real skinny, but you just put it on the penny sleeve so that they can pull the card out of the card saver without damaging it. If you have those and can pick some up, that's something they really appreciate too.
Yeah, absolutely. They actually also make penny sleeves that have those built onto them.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah,
that's an awesome move. I don't personally do that. They have experience with doing that and getting them out, so usually they're very good. But that's not a bad idea at all. You can get they're colored. I think people use them to mark, like if they have a textbook, you can mark it
files, filing cabinet.
Absolutely, but that's easy enough to get it out. Once you do that, make sure you print out everything that grading company tells you to do, mail it in, and wait. As an example, I have an order that I am sending out probably tomorrow. I have it all together. I have 3 cards. We are going to go through these and I will show you. I prepped them as I said. First up, we have the Dark Sylveon from Celebrations. This was from a promo box. On the back, as you can see, the centering is very good, no white marks. Same on the front. Second one is another Celebrations card, is the Venusaur. Another one I just picked up, no whitening, centering is very good, top, bottom, left, right. Same on the back. You can see there's marks from dust and whatnot on the outside, but there is no marks on the card itself. I'll take that out. As you can see, I've done this quite a few times. The card itself has very little marking on it. Just go over it with your fingers, or you can even use a Q-tip, but no marks on it. And last one, I know Jack's excited about this. I'm very excited about this last one. Go back in your home, Venusaur. is a Pop Series Raikou. Now,
Yeah, it's sick.
this
Super hard to find those in good condition.
is in excellent condition. I see no marks on it. I see nothing to really worry about on this. I will say, PSA is notorious for, it doesn't matter how perfect your card is from vintage, they're not giving it a 10. So I'm actually going to send these to AGS because these are for my personal collection. I have no interest in selling these. There is an increase in people interested in buying AGS just because of how they are graded, but you can grade with whoever you like. I like the slabs. I like them for my personal collection. These are going there. So all I did was I got those 3 cards together, went to their website, plugged in, just typed in everything I needed, and it showed up, grabbed the right card, priced it, and picked my grading tier. When you're grading, they have requirements based on total cost, and that is after it is graded. That is so they can insure it and send it back, or if you're PSA, it's so they can charge you more money. So that is called a upcharge with PSA. So if you send in, say, let's pick Brilliant Stars Charizard. That card raw is $300. After it's graded, if it is a 10, that card is now worth $1,000. Their base price includes, I believe I want to say it's 500, but it might be 1,000. Say it's 500 for argument's sake here. If that card gets a 10, they will upcharge you to go to the next tier. That way they can say, oh, well, we insured it, so you're okay, and we can do this. But they will charge you, and they will not give you your card back until you've paid that new upcharge. For AGS, who I'm grading with, they don't care. The tiers are simply, they'll insure it for whatever the max is, but if it goes over that, they're not going to insure it for more. That's on you. But they'll still grade it. Their tiers are more based on turnaround time. So your base tier has a turnaround time of 20 business days. Second tier is 10. Third tier is 5. And everything after that is 2 or 1 business days of the turnaround, which is insane. For comparison of cost, this one I'm trying the $20 tier. So that will be a 10-day business turnaround. Their lowest tier being 20. For $15, they'll do 20. For $20, they'll do 10 is the business day turnaround. For comparison, PSA, their lowest tier, that $27.99, their business day turnaround is 65 days.
Yeah.
Business days. So that's
because everybody grades with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love how PSA keeps coming out with all these I shouldn't say guarantees, but ETAs, and then they just keep changing them like a week later, or they just because they can't stick to their own freaking schedules. It's so obnoxious, man. Sorry, but yeah, I don't know.
So I think that if you want to grade, feel free to DM us, ask us any questions. I'd be happy to answer for you, and we can go through and make sure that you get what you want out of this and have a good experience. But if you are interested in having a graded card be a certain grade, I would caution you, because it's not a guaranteed. You can go through everything and think you did everything perfect. These guys do this every day, and there are times where they're having a bad day at PSA and they're going to give you a bad grade.
Mm-hmm.
A common example I have is a friend who picked up the Detective Pikachu on a Growlithe Japanese promo in a PSA 5. He got it for dirt cheap. And he came to me, he's like, hey man, I don't know why this thing got a 5. I have no idea. I went over it. I said, I have no idea. I looked at it. There's no crease. There's no anything wrong with it. I looked up the certification number. The previous and former, so before and after graded, there were 50 of them in a row. So that grader just got sick of grading that card and started slapping random grades on them.
Yep. They're human.
Yeah, and it's
They didn't feel like showing up that day, and they mailed it in, and that happens.
Yeah, and that's one of the risks you run, especially whenever you see a 5 in Japanese. That's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah,
something we didn't talk about is Japanese. Typically, you're going to expect higher grades on the qualities, just that much better than English.
Right.
Which is why English cards typically are more expensive, because they're just harder to find in that quality tier, unlike Japanese, where the only thing you really have to look at with Japanese these days is centering.
Right. Here's a pure example. This is a Magneton from Super Electric Breaker, or in English, it was an ETB promo. This card is a PSA 10, is like $30. This card
Crazy.
in English is a PSA 10, is, depending on if it's a stamped or regular, is 100 to 300. It's just, and you can see this across all of them. Japanese art rares grade so well. I swear they just look at them and say, yep, 10, done.
Yep.
Which
SIRs too.
Yeah, SIRs too. And which means that you're going to have a lot of them out there that are 10s versus 9s versus English. When they grade them, if you look at the population report, there are less 10s than 9s. So it's a bit of a flip. If you're really into the art like Jack and I are, you can go out and, like I said, you can get this Magneton for $30 to $40 and have a PSA 10. You can have an awesome piece of art for your collection at a very reasonable cost. So I think my piece of advice for if you want graded cards and you are really into PSA, English 9s, Japanese 10s, just go out and grab what you like and mix your collection. Don't have just English or Japanese. Give Japanese a real chance, people.
Leslie, thought you could mind me. You thought you could do it, but what you didn't understand is that I sabotaged Mike's recording, and that no longer exists. You can't joke a joker. Don't try.
She's gonna kill me.
We'll catch you next time on the hit list.
All right,
Jack, signing out. Big Mike, as always, it's been a pleasure.
we're gonna have a great day, great football, and remember, keep chasing
and stay flaffy.
and stay flaffy.
Later, guys.